Now, I want to walk you through what happened here late last night around 10:50. Out through this back door, an employee came through and was trying to make his way over here to the garbage bin. Those remains were then brought to the Arkansas State Crime Lab last night. And late this afternoon, DNA testing did confirm that the remains belong to John Glasgow. When we got here this morning, guys, it was rainy, it was cold. Now completely different. The sun is out and shining. Seems as if nothing happened here, but you just take a look behind me and you can see utter devastation, mobile homes decimated. The roads are absolutely horrendous here in Little Rock this morning. First-hand experience. I didn't drive here this morning. I walked here this morning from my house over by the Art Center, and that's simply because I couldn't get my car out of the driveway this morning. The roads, side roads, have not been touched here this morning in downtown Little Rock. You can still smell the smoke coming from 406 Maple Street here in Morrilton. That fire, though, actually happened early Sunday morning. Arkansas's unemployment rate dropping slightly in February, falling 1/10 of a percentage point to 5.6%. The family of one of the victims living just down the block.
So the first 100 men actually get the shirt they'll have on.
All right, let's hold on. Well, let's see it a little. It is March
Madness.
Hold on, come on. March Madness. There aren't any specific laws that pertain to working outside in the heat, but OSHA says it is the law to protect employees from working in hazardous work conditions. You can remember the outpouring of support here in Valonia in the days and weeks following the tornado, especially here in the shopping center. That's where Fred Muwad's Daylight Donuts was. Attorneys for Yee's estate say despite Metro EMS making it here to the scene rather quickly, it took nearly 53 minutes for police and fire rescue to make their way here and take Yee and her son out of that car. This is the line of teachers behind me and support staff trying to get inside that meeting. That meeting closed to union members only. It isn't easy to find an alligator on Lake Conway, mainly because there aren't a lot of them here.
I have a challenge. Apparently, we've been able to adopt every dog in the last couple of weeks that has appeared on Saturday Daybreak, and I need to compete with Renee, apparently.
Okay.
And we need to get Sadie adopted.
Let's
So
take it
tell us
on.
about Sadie.
Well,
On your average day, Airman First Class Zachary DeYour is busy carting around plane parts, from airplane propellers to 500-pound tires, down to the nuts and bolts of U.S. Air Force airliners, packing each part up as backup for Air Force crews being shipped overseas. But it's what DeYour does off base that he says is perhaps more humbling.
It's still fairly new, where people are still kind of learning about it.
Once a week, DeYour is signing into an online platform, the Crisis Text Line, where he serves as a crisis counselor, receiving texts as simple as "I'm so frustrated with life" to
Overdose. She mentioned feeling faint, feeling dehydrated. She started mentioning different signs that could potentially mean you're going into shock.
DeYour utilized first aid skills learned in the Air Force to help the texter before emergency services could arrive. In just 3 months, he's helped rescue 6 people via text, volunteering emotional support he says texters have said they wouldn't have sought over the phone.
They actually told me that they would never call in. They says if it wasn't for a text-based service, they don't believe they would have made it through the night.
Goodwill employee Deborah Smith took the donation, a donation from a woman who apparently just lost her mother.
She had a really nice car, so I asked her about her Buick, and she said that her mother had just passed away and had left that car to her.
Surveillance video inside the donation center tells the rest of the story. When this woman, Michelle Beard, started sorting through the donation, she discovered this old nebulizer. Inside the box was a small Altoids tin with something inside of that.
I opened it up, and it's like, wow. I mean, it was like, okay, Teresa, come here, please.
Store manager Teresa Wood came over with the rest of the employees. They had found $3,000 in $100 bills.
you see a lot of things, but this is the biggest thing I've ever seen here in Searcy.
But accompanying that money was a note. Funeral expenses for Wilma K. Webb.
I kind of had the feeling that maybe the lady herself might have, left it in there for the family to find, to help out with,
That's kind of the feeling I had gotten from it all.
The donor didn't want a receipt, so her name was never taken down, and unfortunately, there's no video of the lady dropping off the donation.
Hopefully we can get on the right track and track that person down.
His letter tore me up, seeing him that sad.
Sherwood dad Lennon Parker says this letter sent home telling his 6-year-old son Grant that dad couldn't come read to class dressed as a superhero was the reason on Tuesday he came dressed as Spider-Man to pick up his 2 sons.
She was very short in the letter. She was like, thanks, but superheroes are not part of the kindergarten curriculum.
Parker says this flyer sent home Tuesday and pictures in the yearbook prove otherwise. But the Pulaski County Special School District says, if anything, this was a big misunderstanding.
When we say that it needs to be folded into the curriculum, what we mean is that teachers have lesson plans and every day is accounted for, and when we have something that's planned, just an impromptu visit on a certain day may not be something that we're able to accommodate.
Parker feels he's being singled out. PCSSD spokesperson Deb Roush says there are plenty of requests from parents to come volunteer.
Certainly we don't want to disappoint any kindergartner who wants his father to come in to the classroom. However, as you can see, when someone comes dressed as a superhero, it does cause a little bit of commotion, and it needs to be something that's planned and that we need to be ready for.